Hey, seventh grade. Today was a review day, sort of introducing our concept where we have to deal with a lot of mixed numbers. Want to make sure I posted this long video about how to manipulate mixed numbers. So step one that you might have to do is convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. I started with some pictures here just to help out. So if we have the mixed number 2 and 3/4, that is going to look like this in a picture, right? If we color in our two whole, we'll call them pies, and then 3/4 of the other one. So that is two wholes plus 3/4. And notice that each circle or each pie has 4 pieces because that's just the denominator that we're dealing with. And really, each whole can be represented by 4/4 because all 4 pieces are shaded in. And this one on the right, of course, is 3/4. So if we are converting a mixed number into an improper fraction, which means that the numerator is going to be bigger than the denominator, all we need to do is recognize that we are dealing with fourths. So that's our denominator. It's going to stay the same. And we're going to multiply that 4 times our number of whole pies. So 4 times 2 whole pies gives us 8. And then we're going to add our numerator. So 8 plus 3 gives us 11. So 2 and 3/4 converts to 11/4. And because we took the time to make this drawing, we can count the number of fourths shaded in, and we can see that there are 11. The opposite of that is converting an improper fraction into a mixed number. So here we have 23/5. We want to figure out how many wholes we have and then how many are left over. So it's pretty simple. What we need to do is use our division skills and figure out how many times can 5 fit in to 23 without going over. And we can figure out that 5 times 4 is 20. So that 4 is going to be our whole number. And because if we have 4 whole 5/5, that will be 20. If we do 23 minus 20, that leaves us with 3/5 left over. So 23/5 is equal to 4 3/5. And we can always double check this by working backwards. If we multiply 5 times 4, that gives us 20, plus 3 leaves us with 23/5. All right, adding mixed numbers. When we add mixed numbers, the first step is always going to be to find a common denominator. I like to stack my mixed numbers when I am adding them, but you certainly don't have to. So I know that looking at their denominators 5 and 3, that 15 can be our common denominator. So I'm going to write that as 2 and something 15ths plus 3 and something 15ths. We need our common denominator before we can add or subtract. So I am converting this 1/5 into something over 15. To get from this 5 to 15, I multiplied by 3. So I have to multiply this 1 by 3 also. So my 2 and 1/5 is now 2 and 3/15. Same idea for the 3 and 2/3. I multiply this 3 by 5 to get to 15. So this 2 is being multiplied by 5 to get to 10. Now that I have a common denominator, I can add the numerators and get a total of, my pen is not working. get to a total of, I have to type it. Sorry about that. Not sure why my pen stopped working. 13 over 15. And the whole number, which was 2 plus 3, gives us 5. So our answer, while my video is sort of messed up, would be 5 and 13/15. I'm going to try and get this pen working. There we go. Okay. 5 and 13/15. Okay. Luckily, we have another example, except this time we're going to have to carry over. I know that between 4 and 6, my common denominator can be 12. So I'm going to have 4, and this is going to convert to 9/12 plus 2 and 10/12. And now if I add 9/12 plus 10/12, I get a total of 19/12. And what I need to do, because I don't want to have an improper mixed number, is I'm going to convert this to a mixed number, which would be 1 whole and 7/12 left over, and then add up the 4, the 2, and the 1. So my final answer for this would end up being 7 and 7/12. Moving on to subtraction, same idea. I need a common denominator, which for this problem, 4a is 6. I have 5 and 4/6 minus 2 and 3/6. Important to remember that we're subtracting this time. 4/6 minus 3/6 gives us 1/6. 5 minus 2 is 3. Finding a common denominator needs to be something that you can do quickly. All right. 4b, 6 and 3/4 minus 4 and 7/8. We're going to have 6 and 6/8 minus 4 and 7/8. Our common denominator is 8. Unfortunately, we're going to have to borrow because we cannot do 6 minus 7. So what we need to think about is our picture from our very first problem, where something over 8 is a pie that has 8 pieces. So these 6 whole pies are pies with 8 pieces, and we're going to need to borrow one of those. So we're going to change that. We're going to borrow from the whole number and move those 8/8 into our fraction form. So we're adding 6/8 to 8/8, and now we have 5 and 14/8 minus 4 and 7/8. So we borrowed 1 whole from our 6 and took those 8/8 into our fraction. Now we can subtract. 14/8 minus 7/8 is 7/8, and 5 minus 4 is 1. So that one can be a little tricky, but as long as we remember how to borrow, you're going to be in good shape. All right, last two problems. Multiplying mixed numbers. Luckily for fractions, multiplication and division are always quite a bit easier. We're just going to need to convert these improper fractions into mixed numbers. So we're going to do 5 times 2, which is 10, plus 2, which gives us 12/5. And we're going to be multiplying that by 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 over 3. And that's going to get us 120 over 15. Because remember, when we're doing multiplying of fractions, we're just multiplying the two numerators and multiplying the two denominators. This can simplify into a mixed number, but actually in this case, it's just going to simplify to 8. Dividing mixed numbers, very similar process. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So we have 17 sixths. And then we're doing divided by 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7, 7/4. And when we are dividing fractions, what we need to remember is that division is the opposite of multiplication. So we are going to keep the first fraction the same, and we are going to flip the second fraction and change the problem into multiplication. And that is going to leave us with 17 times 4, which is 68, over 6 times 7, which is 42. We're going to convert that back into a mixed number. I know that 42 can fit into 68 one whole time, and that there are 26 42 left over. Those are both even, so I'm going to simplify that to 1 and 13/21. I know there was a lot of different types of problems we went over in this video, but it should all be review, so hopefully it's helped.